Hey there, everybody. It's your good pal Dustin back with another episode of Turn It Around. Before we get started, as always, I hope everybody had a blessed Sunday. I hope everybody got to worship God in whatever way that looks like for you, whether it's going to church, getting in your car, turning on your radio, and listening to Christian music and singing along, whether it's just reading your Bible or if I am worth it, even if it's watching my videos. Regardless, whatever it looks like for you, I hope you got to worship God, whatever way that looks like for you, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed Sunday and a wonderful and blessed week ahead. So we are back. We are on episode 80 of Turn It Around. We are continuing our series on the 7 deadly sins, and we are moving on to greed. Like I said last week, I'll probably do lust last because I feel like that is a sin that just about everybody struggles with at some point in their lives. So that's going to be saved for last. So today we are on greed. I need to turn on a fan. There we go. And now let us get started. So, as always, first we need to identify what is greed. So when most of us think about greed, we see the word greed, we hear about, greedy businessmen, greedy politicians, blah, 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 blah. Most of us see greed as the unhealthy desire for money or things. It is an act of the heart that places selfish gain at the pinnacle of human life. In fact, Dutch crime novelist Jan Willem van de Wetering, I don't know if I said that right, so apologies for that butchering of the name, but according to them, greed is a fat demon with a small mouth, and whatever you feed it, it is never enough. Basically saying greed is never satiated. So it is something that can never be fulfilled and something that can never be given enough. You can never get enough. You always want more. So why is greed so bad? Everyone who practices sin practices lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. We find that in 1 John 3:4, and this verse gives us a lot of insight into sin and the nature of sins like greed. Because God's commands establish moral boundaries for our soul to allow us to preserve our spiritual integrity and our relationship with God. The law instructs Christians how to walk in and preserve our loving fellowship with the Lord. That is what we were made for originally. We were made to be in fellowship with God. It was only after Adam and Eve ate the apple that humans were cast out of the Garden of Eden. But God originally made us so that He could be in fellowship with us, so that He could have somebody to talk to, somebody to love. God wanted somebody to love. He wanted an intelligent being that He could talk to, He could have conversations with, He could spend time with. That is what we were made for, to be in fellowship with God, loving fellowship with God. So let's not forget the love part, because love is perhaps I would say love is the greatest gift God gave us. Love is the greatest emotional gift God has ever or probably will ever give us. In my opinion. Other people might have different opinions, but in my opinion, love is the greatest gift of all. Sin has corrupted us and put us at enmity with God because He cannot fellowship with sin. And enmity means that we are against God, basically. It's just a fancy word for being against, being opposed to. Sin does the opposite of God's law. Sin destroys the integrity of the soul and makes it to where we cannot be in fellowship with God because he cannot be in fellowship with sin. But of course, Jesus' sacrifice on the cross has given us the path to redemption, the path to get back to God, to be back in that loving fellowship with God. Because of Jesus' sacrifice, because of God's love for us, he has given us an out from the corruption of sin as long as we believe in Jesus Christ, but as long as we trust in God, as long as we believe in God, as long as we follow God's commands, we can be in fellowship with him again. It's not to say that we won't sin because we are humans. That is just human nature. But because of Jesus' sacrifice, we can and are forgiven of the sins we commit. The sin of greed, it has no limit. As I said earlier, it is something that can never be satisfied. And therefore, someone who has given themselves over to greed, they give in to untethered desire, a corrupt desire that can never be fulfilled or satisfied. Picture, if you can, that fat demon with the small mouth that described greed by that crime novelist, and think about it, that when you give into it, think of that fat demon living in your soul, and you keep throwing things at it, 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 and it continues to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat whatever you throw at it, but it's never enough. It always says, feed me more. Feed me more things. Feed me more money. Feed me more nice cars. Feed me more nice houses. Feed me more everything. Because I want it all. But even if, excuse me, goodness. But even if we got it all, not that that is even physically possible, but let's pretend that it is. Even if we got it all, even if that fat demon got it all, it still would not be enough. It would still not be satisfied, because it physically can't be satisfied. The love of money. We all heard the old adage that that money is the root of all evil. Specifically, the love of money is the root of all evil. And despite what you may be thinking, having things is not bad. God blesses us with many things, some unseen, some things that, like love, that we can't physically see with our eyes most of the time. Now, there's displays of affection that, show love, but without those, we can't physically see love. And God also blesses us with other things that are material, like money, like family, like a roof over our heads, like food, etc. You know what I mean. God blesses us with many things in his great mercy, grace, and love. He blesses us with the things that we need, and sometimes even the things that we just want. Now, not always. I would say it's probably say it's 80-20%. 80% things that we need that God blesses us with, and then 20% things that God blesses us with that we just want. In my opinion, I think God does love us, and God will bless us with the things that we want, but He will always bless us and give us the things we need first. But it is when we start to love those things, such as money, that we are warned against in 1 Timothy 6:10, where it is written that the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of things, the love of money, the love of cars, the love of houses, the love of food. That probably gets into gluttony, but the love of material, earthly things, that is when it steps over the line to greed and becomes sinful. Greed is an insatiable desire to have more than you need and not to use or give it away, but to just have. Greedy people, they don't need all that money that they have. They have so much money that they could give it away. They could give it to charity. They could give it to the poor. They could give it to people who need it. They have more food than they could possibly consume. They could give that food away to the homeless, to needy families, to charities like Harvesters here in Missouri. But they don't, because to them it's just the I have it, you don't, ha 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 ha. That is what greedy people think. They only care about having the things, not necessarily using them. A lot of the time, greedy people, they have multiple nice fancy cars, and they don't even drive them. They get in a fancy limousine, or they call in like a fancy car service, and they don't even use the cars they have. They just sit there to look nice. They sit there to collect dust and just make them look superior to others. That is when it gets over and steps over the line to greed and to being sinful. Because when we desire more than we need just for the pure sake of having it, is when we cross over that line into greed. Because greed is directly opposed to love, which is quick to give and help others with less than one's self. So love is the antithesis of greed. Love is what allows us to combat greed, because we know that love is what made Jesus commit that sacrifice on the cross, because he loved us, because God loved us so much that they wanted to give us a way to get back into fellowship, a loving fellowship with God. Sure, God could have said, you know what? I don't want to do anything to do with these people. I don't know. The gates of heaven, they're closed forever. Nobody else get in. It is my place. It is everything here is mine. But no, God said no. God said, open the gates of heaven wide and give people the path back to me, back to heaven, to forgive them their sinful ways. I sinned, and I give you my only Son as the purest sacrifice, so that you can be forgiven for your past sins, your current sins, and your future sins, because I love you that much. So remember to love, my friends. because love combats greed. Love keeps us in right fellowship, loving fellowship with God, because it is our way. Love is the way that we gives us the ability and the strength to give and help others. And that completely makes greed cringe and tremble in fear. As always, my friends, I thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Excuse me. If you do like my videos, if you like what I'm doing, please like, share my videos, subscribe, so that hopefully my videos can get out to more people, that the YouTube algorithm is like, oh, people like this stuff. Let's put this on more people's recommended page. Even if they've never looked at another Christian thing, let's just kind of put it on their recommended page, because people seem to like this stuff. And for those people who have never looked at a Christian video before, if YouTube, the algorithm, decides to put my video on their recommended page just because you liked them so much, they could see my video and they could be like, I need to get right with God. I need to accept Jesus Christ. I need to follow Jesus Christ. I need this. I need God's love in my life. But I thank you for being here. I thank you for your views. I thank you for the likes, excuse me, and the subscriptions. And always remember, my friends, that I love you, God loves you, and please remember to love yourselves and those around you. Until next time, my friends, bye!